Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm going to give you guys some tips on just how you can draw houses from your imagination. It can be like actually you can take this idea and pretty much use it to draw a house, a building, a palace, or any kind of large building or structure or anything like that. Okay, because the same basic principle applies. And as I've said in most of my tutorials, if you focus on the basic forms, the simple forms, everything else will become a lot easier for you. So, for example, I would consider the most important element when it comes to learning how to draw a house. And of course, I'm going to do a tutorial eventually on drawing buildings like, with linear perspective, like 2D perspective, 3D perspective, 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, and 3-point perspective. But in this, I'm considering certain linear perspective principles, but I'm not applying it directly. So this is almost like, you can draw a house freehand, okay? So the important thing I'm just going to illustrate is, once you can comfortably draw a block like this, okay? It's like I have here. That's the important thing. And from this, you'll see I'm going to be able to, draw a house, of different sizes and shapes and so on. But everything starts from this, okay? Everything starts from this. Now, something that I'll emphasize is that it's important to be aware of the structure of this thing. So in other words, it's good to visualize it as if you're seeing it transparently, okay? It's like you're seeing through it. Now, going beyond just drawing it like this, it's also good to be able to, draw a block or cube from different perspectives and still be able to maintain that sense of proportion. So for example, see, I'm drawing it in this way. It's almost like I'm seeing it in 2-point perspective, meaning this side and this side are receding in space, okay? But the thing is about perspective is that if you view certain things from a certain distance, the distortion in perspective may be negligible, okay? And that's what I'm assuming here, that we can pretty much just, I'm not exaggerating how this is converging, you see? Now, just to give you an understanding of what I mean in terms of manipulating the structure of this cube, let's say we could have either face be, say, straight on like this. I'm going to have this face be facing us, this plane or this side facing us directly. So now it looks something like that, right? And then you can have to either side. Let's say we have it to this side. And see, and that's what I'm going to be basing everything on. So once you can get a sense of this, that's important. Now, the thing is, I am assuming that our eye level is above this thing. That's why we're seeing the top, see? You're seeing the top. So if you want to give another point of view, like you're viewing it from under, then, of course, you would have it so that you're viewing it from under. Now you'd be seeing the underside. So just being able to, be aware of simple things like that, like you should be aware of how are you looking at this building or this house or whatever it is. Am I seeing it from an under view, okay? Or up above, or you could just be seeing it straight on like this. See, you can't see the top or the bottom in this case. See, because you're assuming that the horizon or eye level is going right through the center like that. And that's just, minor little linear perspective stuff that you should be aware of, okay? But we're not going to be drawing any lines and all that stuff. This is just understanding the basic form upon which we're going to be making a house, okay? Now, in the same way, even with playing with the whole idea of the roof, it's pretty much, you're thinking in terms of basic shapes as well. Now, of course, the most common form of roof shape you'll see is in the form of a triangle like that. But of course, it's 3-dimensional, so let's extend the other side. So it's like that, okay? Now, in the same sense, you can also see this going, see, now we're seeing it, we're looking down. You can also see it in another sense, like you're looking up at it like that. See? And this is just getting a sense of playing with this as a 3-dimensional form, okay? You're trying to see this, how you can see it in different ways. And that's all I'm trying to have you understand. We're just going to look at the basic forms. These are the basic components we're going to be playing with, okay? And then on here, I'm going to show you how you can manipulate these and put them in different ways. So you see, you have a block and you have this form here. Of course, this can take different forms. Like you can have something like this, right? We have that little square or rectangle, and then you can have a variety. Let's say we do this one, similar to this, but the difference is it's going backwards, okay? Or in other words, it's almost like you're seeing it like, what's a better way to look at it? Like this. See what I mean? This is a little different. So, but the whole idea, what the point I'm making is, it's still based on basic forms. Now, another thing we're going to look at really quickly before we actually start applying all this stuff is that when you're drawing like a building, or let's say a house, right? So let's say this is a house, and we're seeing it at an angle like this is. See, this face is flat on, okay? None of the sides are converging. We're just seeing it as a square, okay? This is a little bit different because we're seeing this as an angle. We're seeing this straight on. Now, the center of this is obviously right here, right? So that means if we're going to put a roof like this on it, then this point, let's consider this like the apex, right? Where the angle is, that's going to be directly in front of the center like that. See, so it follows the structure of the house. See? Like that. Now, let's say we're doing it for this one. The only thing I would advise you to keep in mind is that it's not going to be directly at the center like this. It's going to be a little bit too closer to this side. So it's going to be a little bit like this. See what I mean? So that's just a useful thing to keep in mind. And see, this line is parallel to this line. So it just follows the structure of the house, okay? Of the box. And that's how we're going to think about it, right? And then from here, now it's just a matter of, if you want to make more complicated houses, right? It's just a matter of playing with basic shapes. Actually, there's a tutorial I did on manipulating basic shapes, and that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing here, and you'll see in a second. See what I mean? Now, let's look at how we could manipulate a basic shape. Well, before I do that, let me show you one quick thing as well. Even in terms of making a door or a window or whatever it is, if you have a block like this, right? See, you can look at this as actually protruding like that, see? It's protruding, or you can look at it as if it's receding as well. So you can, if you can have the same shape and make it appear to be receding inwards. Right? So this can actually be inside. See, this is almost like you're seeing through it. So in other words, let me erase that so you can see what I mean. It's the same concept, but now I'm saying the box is inside. See, like that. See? So that's useful stuff to think about, you know, whenever you're like drawing a window or, you know, something like that. See, that could easily be a window on the inside of a building, right? And this could be something protruding outwards, okay? So those are just some basic forms. Now, let's get to how we could manipulate a basic shape. So when we're actually going to be drawing a house down here, you'll see how I'm going to be applying these same principles. So let's start with a big box. Let's say we have, let's say we have a box like this one, okay? So we have a big box, okay? Because that's how I want you to think about it. Because the thing is, you have to use a basic shape. You have to think in terms of basic shapes, basic three-dimensional shapes. And in this case, we're thinking in terms of a block. And you can do the same thing even with a cylinder. Okay? That's our basic starting point. And we're going to pretty much be building our house on this. Okay? This basic geometric shape. Now, The point is, you want to imagine this as if it's transparent, okay? This is what you would do mentally, but I'm just sketching it in here. You may not necessarily sketch this in, but I'm doing it now just for you to picture what I'm doing, okay? So let's say we're going to expand on this, and I'm going to expand here, okay? So we can have, imagine you have a little opening here, something like that, and let's have another block. All I'm doing is just building more blocks. That's all I'm doing. Building more blocks. See that? But I'm making sure that the new block is consistent with this block. See that? We can have another one protrude from here. See, that's all I'm doing is just building on what's already there. But I'm being consistent with it. See? Parallel lines, parallel lines, parallel lines. All the lines that are horizontal are parallel. All the lines that are vertical are parallel. See that? All the lines that recede, the angular lines, are receding in the same direction. So that's what keeps it consistent, right? We can even, we can even add on something in the back. We can even have another part of it behind like that. See, I'm keeping all these lines vertical. See? They're all consistent. See, I'm not adding any roofs yet. I'm just keeping it, just building on the structure of the house. We can make something jut off from here. You see that? I'm just, it's just having fun with this thing. What else could we do? We can have something extend out from here. This is extending from the side of the house. See that? We can have a part of it that's like a U shape coming out here. See that? I'm just building on this thing, and then let's start giving it some a roof, right? And then how do we do that? We're using the same little triangular, kind of like a prism shape here, to just give the little roof shapes and stuff. So let's say we have one that's going to be here, right? Remember, as I said, when it's slanted, the apex, this meeting point right here, is going to be a little off center. It's not going to be directly half distance. It's going to be a little bit towards the end that's furthest away from us. So we have the first roof right there. See, now we can see the house starting to take shape, right? We can decide, we can even, actually, I'm going to show you how you could put something on the side of a house. So let's say we have another one right here. And this, see, this corresponds to here, right? So if there's an apex here, it's going to be here. And that's how you connect these 2 points. See that? It's that simple. And I'm going to show you how you can even have something project from the side of that. It's pretty simple. First, you have to follow this inclination because it's jutting out of this, okay? So you'll have something that's projecting out from the side, just like this. I'm having it be in the shape of a similar type of roof. See, so see, as I said, horizontal lines are all parallel. See, it's coming out right there. See that? How about on this one, we do something a little different. Let's say we have a pyramid on top. So it's almost like a steeple, right? See, all basic shapes. Basic shapes. See that? Basic shapes. Basic shapes, all right? Actually, I'm going to make this project from the side of this, so we can have even something like this. Say we have roof that's slanting down. See, like that. And if this is projecting from the side of the roof, it's going to match the slope of the roof as well. So it's going to be like this. It's like a chimney. See that? So, and the thing is, you know, I'm just trying to have you understand the basic principles behind drawing houses and simple things like that, okay? It's just, once you get a sense of the structure, you know, doing all these additions is pretty simple because they follow the same underlying structure of that box we started with. You can actually make this have another half. And see, notice I make this half smaller than this one because that's how it would actually appear, okay? Things that are closer to us appear larger, so the half of the house closer to us appears larger than the one that's further away, all right? And then, you know, after this, adding like doors and stuff like that is pretty simple. It's the minor part. And especially being that it's a little, you know, it's pretty small, the little details are not that difficult to. And that's pretty much the idea. You know, I just wanted to show you guys really quickly, you know, that it's not as difficult as you may think, but you have to think in basic forms. When you think basic, it really helps your understanding of concepts a lot easier than if you were to just start drawing from like a window or something, or start with details, okay? Always try to think first and foremost, how can I simplify what I'm looking at, okay? And as you can see, I just started with the basic forms and just built on top of that.